Verse 11, Ulladhu Naarpadhu, 40 verses on reality given to us by Sri Ramana Maharshi. Here is the Tamil verse and I will translate. அறிவுறும் தன்னை அறியாது அயலை அறிவது அறியாமை அன்றி அறிவோ அறிவு அயர்க்கு ஆதாரத் தன்னை அறிய அறிவறியாமை அரும். Like the previous song, this also deals with what is knowledge, what is not knowledge. அறிவுறும் தன்னை அறியாது அயலை அறிவது அறியாமை அன்றி அறிவோ. Instead of knowing the all-knowing self, the omniscient self, knowing other things, is it not ignorance? Is it knowledge? He is saying. Without knowing, instead of knowing the all-knowing self that we are fundamentally, knowing other things in the universe, is it knowledge? Is it not ignorance? He is asking. And then he says, அறிவு அயர்க்கு ஆதாரத் தன்னை அறிய அறிவறியாமை அரும். There is a substratum, a basis, which serves as the basis for all knowledge and ignorance in an individual. And if you knew that this question of ignorance and knowledge would be destroyed, would snap, the way a rope snaps into two, this subject matter of ignorance and knowledge would snap. It will be removed. What does he mean here? See, in Advaita Vedanta, reality is said to be consisted of two planes. One is the transactional world, transactional reality, the reality in which we live right now. I am an individual, I have a world, I have a universe, and I am operating inside the universe. This is called the transactional reality. And the ultimate truth is absolute reality, that is Brahman Atma, where there is no question of body, there is no question of universe, there is no question of an individual knowing something and not knowing something at all. See, all the verses, all the teachings of Advaita Vedanta have only one teaching in the core, that thou art. Have you realized it? If you have not yet realized, then we need to undergo all this process of learning and then doing practices. See, Sri Bhagavan says in talks that light arises from the self. Here light, you should not take it as physical light. It is that knowing power. Knowing power arises from the self. This is the self. The knowing power arises from the self and it reaches the brain, which is the seat of the mind, he says. Light arises from the self and reaches the brain, which is the seat of the mind. Once that knowing power enters the brain, senses are there, mind is there, intellect is there, and we know the world. Everything. That I am a man, I am a woman, I am a student, I am a doctor, I am an engineer, I know this subject, I do not know that subject, etc., etc. So the original dynamo is Atma. And from the original dynamo, you imagine 7.2 billion cables emanate. From this dynamo, 7.2 billion cables plus other cables which are connected to animals, plants, planets, stars, etc. All these cables are originally from this self. They are connected to all individuals. And once that knowing power enters this particular body, there is a distortion which takes place. And although what emanated is the original power, the moment it enters this body, the distortion takes place and I start saying, I am this body. Instead of saying I am the original self, the original dynamo, I treat myself as this gadget. So the whole effort is what? In this gadget, fortunately, there is the intellect which can segregate things, which can think through things. And using that intellect, we do vicharam, self-enquiry, and finally we reach back the source from which this knowing power emanated. Right. And in Bhagavad Gita, in 3 places or more, I understand there is a verse which says Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham Idimanyate. By the way, I am not very well read in Sanskrit. A few things I have learned, I have understood, so I am sharing. Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham Idimanyate. Although the Brahman is Nirguna, it is Sarvagyan, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. It pervades the entire universe, it pervades all human beings. But being deluded by the body, because of the connection, so-called connection with this body, it gets deluded and starts saying that I am the doer, I am this individual and hence I am the doer. This is a fooling mechanism, so-called. I personally call it the whole process of Advaita Vedanta and self-realization as fooling and defooling mechanism. Vivekananda called it hypnotization and dehypnotization. That's all. It is called the power of Maya that makes us think I am an individual. And if you think that you are definitely an individual, you will be subject to the process of life, death and rebirth. That's all. This is what they are saying. So, what is this knowledge and ignorance in the transactional reality? Supposing there is a heart surgeon, he has this wonderful knowledge and skill of operating upon the heart and saving a patient's life. If you are an automobile engineer, you can create a wonderful automobile and people drive around happily. This is knowledge. Okay, right. The automobile engineer is not a doctor. A doctor is not an automobile engineer. So medical knowledge is knowledge and his not knowing automobile engineering is ignorance. The automobile engineer knowing how to create an automobile is knowledge and his not knowing how to operate upon the heart is ignorance from his standpoint. So this is what is knowledge and ignorance. Knowledge and ignorance is to whom? Is to the individual, is to the I thought. I have a software, central software, I have an operating system within me which says I am this sentivel, I am this body. Advaita says this itself is error because you are not this individual at all. You are a gadget powered by that big dynamo. There is only one dynamo which is the self, which is Brahman, which knows everything and which pervades everything. That is the existence aspect of Brahman. Pure existence. What does it mean? There the objects are not there. Only a sense of being is there. I am. First I say I am Sentivel. Then I cancel out Sentivel. I am. That is what is described as Jnanam. The pure existence, pure being. There, do we attain that state through the mind? Yes. Is not the mind enemy to realization? Yes. Even the Upanishads, I understand, say that two positions, they are simply two standpoints, that's all. We don't have to get confused. It is through the mind that we attain self-knowledge. Through the mind, we can never attain self-knowledge. Let us not get confused. Now, right now, a person starts working towards self-realization. Where does he start? He starts from his mind only, his intellect only. So, after all, who is masquerading as all individuals, 7.2 individuals of the world? Who is masquerading? It is Brahman itself through its power of Maya. It is cheating itself. When it comes to this question of realization, it is said that God was all alone. He was bored. So he wanted to create some playmates. He wanted to have some entertainment. So he started creating the world and other individuals. And God was so absolutely perfect and genuine in his effort that he created individuals. He became all the other individuals and he really forgot his original nature. And now God is said to be seeking his own God nature. That's all. So, அறிவுறும் தன்னை அறியாது அயலை அறிவது அறிவோ? Is it not ignorance? Is it not ignorance to know things other than the self? So here Bhagavan dismisses all knowledge and all ignorance as ignorance only. But it might sound shocking that a heart surgeon who performs heart surgery and saves lives, do you want to call it ajnanam, ignorance? See, here we should have the courage to look at what is it that Advaita is trying to teach, what is it that Sri Bhagavan is trying to teach. If you want self-realization, you need to transcend the plane of the material plane of the universe, which includes the world, all the stars, etc., body. Here, if you keep arguing, oh, how can this be ignorant, then we'll get stuck at the transactional reality level. So the very question of knowledge and ignorance is for those people who are identified with the body. If you want realization, the God nature, because it is shocking sometimes, in Devi Kalotram he says, one who makes his mind still and realizes his true nature, he is all the three major gods that Hinduism talks about. He is Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, he says. And in another place he says, Nane Parabrahmam Nadan Ulagukku Eesan. I am the Brahman, which is the boss of the entire creation, entire universe. This is upon self-realization. So let us not get carried away. If we realize our true nature, what will be there? Let us see. Supposing I have not seen New York. What is the point in going on, seeing videos and reading books? Let me take a flight, go there, land there and see what New York is like. That is better. So, அறிவுறும் தன்னை அறியாது அயலை அறிவது அறிவோ? அறிவு அயர்க்கு ஆதாரத் தன்னை அறிய அறிவறியாமை அரும். Knowledge, the question of knowledge and ignorance itself will disappear if we come to know that which serves as the basis for this knowledge and ignorance. That is realization, self-realization. That is knowing our true nature, which is Satchit Anandam, existence, consciousness, bliss. Let us think about it.